In today's lesson, we'll be focusing on the running cost of a car after you buy it. So the running cost of a car includes fuel, servicing, repairs, tires, renewal of car registration, and insurance premiums and depreciation. So there's a lot of things you got to pay for once you own a car. You've also got to pay for motorway tolls. So when you go to the M4, M5 to go to the airport, say for example, you might have to pay a fee for proceeding on a road that allows you to travel faster. When you park on the street, sometimes you might have to pay parking fees, and the longer you stay there, the more you pay. And fines for traffic infringements also need to be considered. Okay, so in example 6, which you don't really have to write down, you just have to listen. Rebecca owns a Holden Cruise and drives about 15,000 kilometers per year. Her car was serviced at twice during the year, each service capped at $250. So a service is basically when you visit the car dealership place once per year just to check your oils, replace anything that is problematic with your car, just to fix it up, okay, just in case there's anything that involves repairing. Now she also needed 2 tires at $148 per tire, and this is basically a realistic price of the tire. Rebecca had to pay $385 for car registration, which is rego, $585.21 for the green slip, which is covering damage to another person's body, and $691.88 for comprehensive insurance, which covers both your car and another person's car's damage. Her weekly fuels bill is $35. Parking fees and tolls amounted to $30 per week. So there is a lot there that we have to take in. Now in question 1, how much Rebecca spent on her car during the year? So let's focus on, first of all, that there was a service. Okay, I'm just going to highlight everything I'm going to add together. So there's a service here, but this is twice per year and depends on your brand. So first we do 250 times 2. Now we're going to add that with the next thing, which is the tires. So there's 2 tires at 148 each. So 148 times 2. And then we're going to add this with $385 once, because it's a registration or rego, plus the green slip once, with the comprehensive insurance. Okay, and then we have to look at the other weekly bills. So her weekly fuel bill is $35. So she travels every week to work, so she has to pay for petrol. And in a year, there's 52 weeks, so we're going to plus 35 times 52. And parking fees and tolls amount to $38 per week, so we're going to plus 38 times by 52. And once we total all that amount, we get approximately $6,250, $4.09, which is to the nearest dollar, according to the question, going to be $6,254, right? And then we can go into question B, which says, what was the weekly cost of the car? So if this is how much this person has to pay per year as running cost of the car, we have to divide that number by 52 to get the weekly cost. Okay, so we're going to share this each day. This will give you 120.269 according to the answers, and this would round to 120.27. Okay, and that's it for that question. Now, let's move on to a few questions on to exercise 904. So, in exercise 904, we've got Jackson estimates will travel approximately 500 kilometers per week. He estimates the fuel consumption of 11 kilometers per litre and a fuel price of $1.38 per litre. Car registration and compulsory third-party insurance will cost $785 altogether. And the comprehensive insurance on his car will be $725. Jackson has calculated that $1,100 should cover servicing and maintenance of the car and has paid $180 for membership to the NRMA road service. He pays $50 per week on the motorway tolls, and parking fees amount to $500 per year. Okay, so let's calculate Jackson's total fuel bill. So the fuel bill is just referring to how much petrol this person's buying. So that depends on how much he travels. So he travels this much per week, okay? And he estimates the fuel consumption of 11 kilometers per liter, depending on the car, and the fuel price costs this much. Well, we have to figure out, first of all, how much is he actually traveling? So the fuel bill, okay, will firstly equal to how much he's going to travel. So he travels 500 kilometers per week. So we're going to times that by 52. Now, we don't really have to work out what that is. Don't worry about that. But just know that this is total distance. Okay, traveled in a year. Now, once we get this number here, which in the answer says 26,000 anyway, every 11 kilometers traveled consumes 1 liter of petrol. So we're going to divide this number here by 11. And then this will tell us the number of liters. Okay? Then once we've got the number of liters, okay, which is a slightly miserable number with a lot more numbers after the decimal place, we're going to times that by $1.38 per liter. And that will equal to 3,261.818 ... So roughly speaking, in a year's time, this person, Jackson, will pay $3,261.82. Question B. How much will Jackson pay for the annual running cost of his car? So let's start off with the sentence after that. So car registration and compulsory third-party insurance will cost this much. Okay, so let's highlight that amount. So B, $785. Then we've also got the comprehensive insurance, okay, which is $725. Then we should also add that with $1,100, which is covering servicing and maintenance of the car. There we go. And then he's got to pay membership fees for NRMA's road service. Then he's also going to pay other running costs, which include $50 per week on motorway tolls and parking fees, amount to $500 for the year. So let's do the 50 per week first. That would be plus 50 times 52, then plus parking fees, which is $500 for the year. This all totals to become exactly, well, first of all, you gotta actually add, lastly, you gotta add this fuel bill. Okay, I totally forgot about that. There's petrol as well. That is also counted towards the running costs annually. So adding that all together will get us $9,151.82. Okay. Now, part C. How much will Jackson need to budget per fortnight to cover the cost of running his car? So Jackson's currently paying this much per year. It's quite expensive. So a lot of pay for. Now we're going to divide this by the number of fortnights in a year, which is number 26. So that's around $351.99.3. So roughly speaking, that is $352 per fortnight if rounded to the nearest whole number. And that's how you do question 3. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question. Question 4. So in question 4, the following table shows the average vehicle running cost for New South Wales, Queensland, and Victoria in 2014. So row 1 says servicing and maintenance, okay, to repair cars, registration insurance for each state, parking and tolls, fines, and then petrols. So calculate the average weekly running costs for vehicles in each state. So for New South Wales, okay, we've got to total all of these numbers here, first of all, and then divide that by the number 52 for the weekly amount. Okay, so let me just total all this up for you. So I get 5,612 once I add all these numbers up. And if I divide by the number 52, I do get roughly, okay, on average, $107.92. And let's go with Victoria. Now for Victoria, if you add all those numbers, you will get 5,638. And we're going to divide this number by 52 once again. And that will be roughly 108.42. Queensland. Again, add all those numbers up at the end. You will get 5,937. Again, divide by 52 to get the average. And you will get 114.17, roughly. Okay, question B. What is the difference between the annual cost in New South Wales and Queensland? Let's have a look at the annual cost of New South Wales and Queensland. Well, Queensland is more for sure, but by how much? We will get 114.17 minus 107.92, and that's exactly $6.25. Now, it wants you to give a reason for this difference, and these questions are often asked in the HSC, okay? So don't go and write essays, you just have to name one possible reason, okay? So we can see that the Queensland is more expensive. So let's have a look at the things that we've got to pay for in New South Wales and Queensland. So if we have a look at these two, okay, Queensland has more expensive servicing and maintenance. We can say that. So we can say Queensland costs more for servicing and maintenance. Okay, so the whole idea is to have a look at where Queensland is more expensive than New South Wales. So rego insurance, Queensland is cheaper, so we don't talk about that. There's not talk about parking and tolls because Queensland is less. But if you have a look at the petrol, okay, petrol is higher by like about $600 something. So we can say it's cost more for servicing and maintenance as well as petrol. Okay, and that's it. Okay, I'm going to move on. Question 7. Ben's annual fuel cost is $3,744. His registration, CTP insurance, and comprehensive car insurance amount to $1,432. His car has had two services costing $267 and $321. At the last service, Ben was informed he needed 4 new tires, which cost $212 each. The NRMA fee for gold membership was $180, and tolls and parking fees amounted to $890 for the year. Parking fines added $320 to his costs. Okay, so what is the weekly running cost of the Ben's car? So that includes everything. Right, so let's just calculate, first of all, the yearly cost. So everything added up in a year. So start with $3,744, which is the annual fuel cost. Then we need to add this with the registration, CTP, and comprehensive insurance, which is $1,432. Then we need to add this with the services, which is $267 and $321. Then the tires. Okay, so this person needed 4 new tires, costing this much each. So we're going to plus 212 by 4. Then we need to add the NRMA fee for gold membership. That's $180. And tolls and parking fees amounted to $890 for the year. As well as parking fines, and that's $320. Okay, so when you add it all up together, you will get $8,002. And so if you want to calculate the weekly costs, well, we've just found out the yearly cost. So we can just divide this number by the number 52. And that will get us $153.88.4. But roughly speaking, that is $150.88. Okay. All right, question B. If the depreciation on Ben's car amounted to $6,000 and is also considered a running cost, calculate the annual and weekly running cost of the car. And that's a big issue. So cars will lose around half its value in about 3 years. Okay, 3 to 4 years, I should say. Okay, so you could lose a lot of money when you buy a new car. So just watch out for that. Now, question B. If depreciation is costing $6,000, well, we've got to add that onto the other annual costs. So the new yearly or new annual costs would equal to the previous cost, which is $8,002, plus by $6,000, and that'll be $14,002. Right? So that means our weekly running costs will now be this new amount. Oops. But we're going to divide this new amount by 52. So getting 14,002 divided by 52 gives us $269.26.9, so on. So that will be rounded to $269.27. And that will be the weekly running cost. And that's it.